Hi, everyone. Next, I want to introduce someone named Paula Cowan. She is going to be the guest speaker for GTApreneurs' next big networking event, taking place next Thursday, November the 12th, from 12 till 2 p.m. Glad to have you here, Paula.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and so happy to have you as a guest speaker for our next event. Can you tell everyone more about yourself? What do you do?
I'm a career transition strategist, so I help my clients find their ideal next path from their current situation.
That's perfect. And how long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that since 2014. First, I started off doing strictly resume writing, but realized I was giving a lot of advice in the process, so expanded the title and the services, and
that's awesome. Because you know what, getting your next path is a lot more than just writing a resume writing, right? Like someone can have a great resume, but that doesn't mean they're going to get the job.
Exactly.
Perfect. Good. And so how did you get into doing this profession?
I started my career in human resources and recruiting. So I saw every type of resume, the good, the bad, the ugly. I interviewed people. I saw some good interviews, some not so good. And in each case, there were candidates that there could have been a lot of improvement with just a little coaching, a little tweaking. But as a recruiter, I really did not have the time to devote to them always. I did what I could, obviously. And then also working in any corporate job in human resources, you also witness a lot of jobs being filled through the back doors, through the contacts of upper management. And so you very much see that there is a real hidden job market going on.
Perfect. Yeah, and exactly. So whether it be, someone's working at a job for a long time, right, and they just can't seem to move up the corporate ladder, and again, all these new people coming in, or maybe other people getting promoted, and they want to see, how do I get to that next level, right? Or, how do you even find the jobs, right, that you want, right? And then what is the best path for you? So, I'm glad that you help out with all that stuff. And, he said, as a recruiter, that's not really a job of a recruiter, right? No, it's to coach the people.
Yeah.
However you are. Yeah. Right.
The recruiter is beholden to the big corporate client, not to the candidate.
Yeah.
So that's where the problem is.
Perfect. Whereas you work for
the job seeker, the candidate, the career changer, whatever slots they happen to fit into at the moment. And that's what I help them identify. Do they need a full career change, either from one corporate to another, from corporate to entrepreneurship? Do they want to level up and maybe they can't in their current company? Or do they just simply need to jump ship and go into a completely different workplace, but in the same line of work? I help you figure out all of that. And
yeah. Exactly, right. Another issue out there that sometimes there's entrepreneurs that they're struggling in that, right? It wasn't what they thought it was going to be. They just were, oh, I like to, sell clothes, or I like to, cook for people or whatever, right? And they're kind of finding out that it's not getting them the income they want. It's not getting the stability they want. So, you're also helping these people out to say, okay, well, I know what you like to do. I know what the skills you have, and let's see what we can find for you out there that you can get that same fulfillment, but getting yourself a steady paycheck.
Exactly. Yes.
Perfect.
It's in entrepreneurs' case, they may want to go back to a permanent job, or they may be okay with a contract or a temporary gig, just for say 6 months to a year, and I help them determine what the best fit would be.
Exactly. And that's a good point you made, because sometimes it is where the person, maybe they do need a stable income for a short period of time, and they can work on their business on the sidelines. So there's all different things that you help people with, which I think is fantastic, and again, if the person is at the job that maybe entrepreneurship is the time to add something, maybe a side hustle, or maybe do full-time. So, the fact that you can help people to identify that, and so they can be more fulfilled and get the income they want is fantastic. And there's not a lot of people who are actually doing what you do. So, and what is your overall goal for your clients?
My overall goal would ideally that they have a job offer by the end of our work together. More realistically, that they've found their path, and I've essentially taught them how to roll with the hunches and how to find the information they need that will put them on on the path to their ideal role, their next ideal role, or their next big thing.
Perfect. So after you help them identify their path, what do you like doing? What are you good at doing? Things like that you mentioned before, when people are asking you advice, right? That's maybe a clue to, maybe I should go to something professionally. I'm giving free advice, anyways, right? Or, sometimes you just think about, I would like to do this. I know for myself, before I did my business, I also thought about myself, what do I like doing, right? And what would I like to help people with, right? So either way, whether, it's these different things that you do that can really help people to get on the right path. And once you got that goal, then if it's the employment world, then what's the first step you help them with?
Employment, well, make sure that their resume and LinkedIn profile are optimized. And
Exactly.
yeah, make sure it actually grabs the attention of the person that's ideally reading it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
By a human.
That's right. And LinkedIn is the new resume and everything else. But there's, they're not all created equal. And what is in there is so important. And it can mean the difference between an interview and non-interview, right? Which brings to, and so after you've done that for the person, you've helped them, their LinkedIn's good, their regular resume is good. And so then what's the next step?
Yeah, I teach them how to tackle the hidden job market, because it is still true that 80% of jobs are not advertised. So I teach them the entire process to access that and hopefully put their job search on fast forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I've heard of so many people that, look, I've applied for hundreds of jobs and everything, right? I'm not getting any interviews. Well, yeah, you know what? Because as soon as a job posting goes up, you got 1,000 people who are applying for that one job. Okay.
Oh, exactly. Indeed,
right.
It's insane. And
it is. So, but if that's all you're doing, and that's fine because that's all you know how to do, but that's, you said, only 20% of the actual job market, you're really missing out. And there's no reason for that. Right. And so I'm really glad you provide your service, because again, that 80% that people don't know about, well, that's going to increase the odds of someone getting the job that they want to get, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So you really do apply the 80-20 rule for job search, 20% on the advertised and the other 80% find the hidden job market.
Exactly.
So I teach them how to do that.
That's perfect, right? And so once they identify, these are the jobs I want to apply for, they've got the resume, then what comes next?
The final coaching to make sure they know how to approach the prospects. When they're approaching people to access hidden job market, do they know how to approach them? Do they know how to message someone? Do they know how to conduct themselves in an interview? Just depending, there's a lot of flexibility, obviously, in what I do, because every client is different. So what do they need for that final coaching bout that'll really put them over the edge?
Yeah, no, that's excellent, right? And I mean, you know what, you never got the second chance to make a first impression. So you know what, when people get the interview, that's great. But again, that's only one part of the equation. You have to nail that interview, right? And you said you've seen good interviews, you've seen bad interviews, you've seen all different things in between, right? And so that is definitely, a lot of people need that. It's not just about, first of all, what you know, right? Who you know, so how do you get the connections? But once you're in front of those people,
who knows you?
Well, you're right. Who knows you too, right? And then, but when you're in front of the decision maker, how do you have the best chance of getting the job?
Exactly. You have to appeal to their pain points. So that's another thing I teach them to do.
Exactly.
What is their biggest problem they need to solve right now?
Yeah.
And make sure all of their skills and their talents line up to suit that, and make sure that they can speak to it in the interview and say, I can help you with that.
Yeah. No, exactly. Right. And there's so many more details that go into that, right? Which is why people need to see you for your services, right? They need for you to help them, again, identify where the best place for them to go, right? And then how do they get there, and then help them to get there. So this is great. And what's the title of your presentation for next week? What are you going to be teaching people at the event next week?
That is rebuilding your network in uncertain times.
Okay. And that's so important, especially now with COVID, right? This is a whole new world for us. And you know what? Unfortunately, it's not going anywhere for a while, right? Like hopefully we can get to, in Toronto here, we can get to phase 3 and stuff like that, but it's still a different world than it was, a year ago from now. So I'm really excited. I'm happy to be having you on the at the event and everything, right? I'm looking forward to hearing your presentation. And again, it's going to really help people, whether it's the entrepreneurs themselves who want to be, getting a job temporarily, permanently, or for their friends and family who are looking for this. And people who want to come out to the event, it's a networking event, it's a business networking event, but you know what? You don't have to be an entrepreneur to attend GTApreneurs events. You can be a person who is looking for more opportunities. You're not sure what to do. So come out there, listen to Paula's presentation, right? Hear from what the other entrepreneurs are doing. And that can also help you determine what your next path is going to be. So thank you so much again, Paula, for having on here. Really look forward to seeing you next week. And if you haven't registered yet for GTApreneurs event, go to GTApreneurs.com and you'll see a big purple letters there that say register for events and get your ticket. Again, next Thursday, November the 12th at 12 o'clock, and I hope to see you there.